When you need an energy boost, which one do you reach for first? Same in your garden. When your garden needs a boost, are you reaching for NPK chemical fertilizer, or are you reaching for your compost and your organic fertilizers? What we put in our bodies, what we put in our gardens, affects the amount of energy and goodness that we produce. Let's have a look at comparing chocolate bars and bananas at NPK and organic fertilizer, our compost. Both of these, like NPK and compost, are going to give a really good energy boost. What NPK chemical fertilizer are doing are giving your garden a really fast, efficient boost of instant energy. Same like when we eat a chocolate bar. We're giving ourselves a good sugar rush, a quick energy boost. But this is really quite different than what a banana is giving us. A banana is going to give us an energy boost too. Let's have a look at some of the differences and compare them to the differences between applying NPK chemical fertilizer and applying organic compost to your garden. The chocolate bar and the chemical fertilizer, they're fast acting and they're going to feed us rapidly. But once that energy boost is depleted, you've got nothing. It's gone. And as it is with the banana and the compost, when we eat a banana, it's going to give us some energy. When we put compost in our garden, it's going to give our plants some energy, and it's going to give the microbial life in the soil energy as well. The thing is that it's going to last a lot longer and be infinitely more beneficial to us and to our gardens. Average chocolate bar is about 50 grams, a banana, average size medium banana is about 120 grams, and really the number of calories is quite astounding. The banana has got far, far fewer calories and fat than the chocolate bar has. The banana's got about 0.3% of the calories and fat that the chocolate bar has. And both are full of sugars. The banana's full of natural sugars. The chocolate bar is full of intensely refined processed sugars, ultra-processed sugars. This makes it more difficult for our bodies to deal with that type of sugar. And fibre, yeah, banana has plenty of it. The chocolate bar, zero. And protein, yeah, sure. The Snickers bar, it's got some peanuts in it, so there's some protein in there. And when we eat a banana, it's similar in the way we decompose it to our compost when we add that to the garden. We digest a banana more slowly because of the fibre, because of the natural goodness in it. It takes our body time to digest the banana, and therefore our energy is going to be drawn out over a longer period of time than when we eat a chocolate bar. When we eat a chocolate bar, our energy is going to spike, then it's going to drop. With the banana, we don't get that sugar crash because it's natural and our bodies just manage it so much better. The same happens with NPK chemical fertilizer. When we apply that to the garden, it's not actually feeding the soil as compost does. The NPK fertilizers are feeding the plant, and it'll give the plant a really sharp boost in energy. It's going to appear to be looking stronger and greener than if we don't apply the chemical to it. But once the chemical's gone, once it's depleted, it's not actually doing anything at all for your plant. You need to keep adding more. The plants are addicted to it because without the NPK fertilizer, particularly if it's been used year in and year out for a long time, there's no life in the soil. The soil doesn't give anything back to the plants, so they're completely addicted to and completely relying on the chemical additives. Whereas when we apply natural organic compost to our garden, this is not feeding our plants directly, it's feeding the microorganisms in the soil that then break down the organic matter and then feed it back to the plant. So by adding compost to our soil, it's enriching the life of the microorganisms and the worms, all the goodness in the soil. So It just takes longer though to get into the plants. It's a little bit slower, but it's building incredible strength in the plants and the resilience in the plants and the resistance to pest and disease and drought that plants fed with NPK fertilizers totally lack, because they're just growing quickly and they've got no resilience and no resistance, whereas compost growing plants are much stronger and much more resistant to pests and other problems. And we like to mix in with our compost our photosynthetic bacteria and biochar, and by adding these into the compost, it's providing a really all-round full group of nutrients that will continue to feed the soil over time. The PSB helps to break down the compost, and it also, by adding biochar, it's allowing that those microbes and that goodness to be retained in the soil, and it helps it to also retain water. This goodness that's in the compost and in the PSB isn't being leached away. That's what happens when we get our heavy rains in the monsoon seasons here in Northern Thailand. All that nutrient goodness, or most of it's still retained, whereas land that's been treated with NPK chemicals, when it rains, this just gets leached out and the salts and the chemical stays in the soil, and this then kills the microbes and kills the earthworms. The soil's also much more easily compacted and much more susceptible to erosion when it's had NPK chemical fertilizers applied to it, much more so than if we're only adding organic compost to it. So, like our sugar boost from a chocolate bar, NPK is going to give your garden a quick energy boost, but it's not going to be sustained. It's highly concentrated and it bypasses the soil and goes straight to the plant. It's like the sugar goes straight into our bloodstream and boosts us. This is what's happening with your plants when you apply an NPK chemical fertilizer to them. And the result is the soil dies out because of the amount of salts and chemicals that are just dormant and staying in the soil, and this in turn kills the microbes and the earthworms, and the plants then are addicted to the NPK. If you're not continually giving them chemical fertilizer, they're just going to die out because there's nothing of any goodness left in the soil. And very much like eating a banana that feeds us and boosts us and keeps us feeling full for longer because it's got so much fibre and so much natural goodness in it, when we're adding compost to our land, it's adding goodness to the soil and life to the soil that is going to be sustained for far longer. So it's going to be contributing goodness and richness and energy and life to the plants that we grow there. And this is, of course, going to make our worms happy. It's going to make all the microorganisms in the soil happy, and the fungal life that's all really beneficial to the soil is always boosted when we give it compost. Another great thing about organic compost is that it costs us nothing. We make use of all our garden waste, all our kitchen waste, everything that's organic goes into our compost, and therefore it's much cheaper. The cost of 2 chocolate bars is about the same as a whole bunch of bananas, so you can do the math there yourself. This one is much more preferable to us. So we can look at bananas and compost as a long-term solid investment that stays with us and provides interest on that investment for a longer sustainable period of time. Whereas if you're looking at a chocolate bar or NPK fertilizer for your garden, this is like an immediate high interest loan. It's going to be satisfying in the short term, but in the long term, we're going to be paying a very high rate of interest on it, because it's not really going to give any return once it's depleted. So the organic side of things is giving us a longer term, stronger, more beneficial result than what's convenient and what's easy is going to give us a quick boost to our energy or a quick boost to our garden's energy. But in the long run, it is going to cost us not just in the money that we spend, but in the degradation of our soil. And this is something that we are seriously interested in. We're working really hard here at Suanstock Homestay to build up the soil, continually to build up the soil. It's a never-ending process, but it's never a chore because we love being in our garden. And if you'd like to see more of what we do here in our garden, you can check out this video next. And thanks very much for watching this one all the way through.